Thank
Hi,
you for having me
Gloria.
here
I
again.
I love having you here. If Gloria was not in Colombia getting a refresh,
Oh,
she would be here with us today. In fact, I'm going to send her this episode because I know as she's recovering, she's going to want to watch it and she's going to hate that she didn't guest co-host with me today with you here because us three go back. We got history. So
well, we'll have
so
many more. So this will be just one of the many. Yeah.
we'll promise her that she will bring her on next time you come on. So tell me, okay, perimenopause, because I want to jump into it. And I know you've done so much stuff that we like really have to catch up on. But let's dive right in and get it poppin' with this topic because, like I said in my opening, this one is a doozy. Like a lot of people, I think a lot of women, probably if they're below age 35, don't even know the word perimenopause because I didn't know it. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I did not know it. And I did not have like these, women passing down the information. I remember my mom going through menopause and having hot flashes and being irritable and sleeping a lot. That's what I remember. And that's what I thought menopause was. So when I got to be about, I don't know, 35 years old, I started having night sweats. And I talked to my doctor about it. I'm like, why am I sweating so much at night? like, and waking up in a puddle when it gets close to my period. And my doctor was like, because you're getting maturing and you're getting older and you're probably in pre-menopause. And I was like, what? Oh my God, this is crazy. I better have another baby. And I did. Shout out to Lucas who just turned 9 last weekend.
Woo, he made it.
So my point is I didn't know anything about this and it's evolved over the years. Obviously, as I've gotten older, I've started to experience things like hot flashes and big drenching the bed type of night sweats and light clammy night sweats and mood swings and irritability and all of these things. And I don't know if you know this, but I had a hysterectomy last year. So, but I still have like I have my ovaries. So I still have all these symptoms. And I know a lot of women have no clue. So please enlighten me, Lynn. What exactly is perimenopause to begin with?
Okay, so well, first I want to let you know the normalcy of a period, so you can understand what's happening to your body's hormones. Because if you don't know what's happening to your period, then you won't even know what's going to happen during the time when you're about to, your cycle starts to dwindle and your ovary starts to retire. So, so just a quick physiology of hormones. Every single month, you have a period. And a period, I used to think there was a little dot at the end of the sentence because I didn't know how to speak English. I came to the United States. I'm like, what is a period? So every single month you have a cycle of 28 days on an average. And some people have irregular periods, and I can talk about that later. But the period, when you have a period, it signifies all your hormones are at its lowest and you're not pregnant. Your body's cleaning house. Okay, your uterus is sloughing off the lining, and that's why you have some clots. You're like, what is this stuff? You think you're gonna bleed to death, but really it's not. It's just the old lining, the sloughing of the uterus, and to prepare for the new one. So your brain center, once you register that you're not pregnant, then it produces a hormone called FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, and it goes to signals the ovary to make estrogen. So around the day 7 to 14, right around that time, your ovary will signal to release an egg. So that egg, which we call it follicle, I'm sure follicle, goes there and wait for an implantation, which is the sperm to come around. Just sitting there waiting, looking pretty, getting ready, right? So, right when your estrogen is the highest, you'll notice that you have a little like slimy, like uh, discharge kind of, but it's slimy and it's clear. For what? Well, it's to push the help the sperm to get into the egg. How amazing it is. There's millions of sperm and there's only one Mr. Superman to get right into the implantation. Once you have that, then your estrogen will start to go down around the cycle, and then your brain will signal that, okay, you just released the egg. Then the brain will say, hey, luteinizing hormone, which is LH, go to the ovaries and tell your ovaries to make progesterone. So you make progesterone, and progesterone is important for the lining of the uterus to support it makes the lining of uterus thicken, to house the egg, the fertilized egg. Now, if you do have a pregnancy, then it will continue to grow, and then progesterone continue to grow, and it becomes human until human chorionic hormone, which is HCG. That's the little hormone that tells you, that little stick that you're pregnant. When that takes over, your estrogen will go down. Okay. So, but if you don't, then estrogen, progesterone will start coming down. Then you'll start feeling like irritable, and then you start your period all over again. So during menopause or premenopause, it's when your hormones starting to fluctuate a little bit. Stress will come because you're in your 30s and you're taking on a job, working, and taking care of the kids. Parents are getting older. Still having to look sexy for your husband or your partner. Whipping sandwich, right? So sometimes we forget about ourselves. And this time, I usually call it's kind of like called childbearing years, but I say, it's kind of like the disease preparing years because you're not careful. If you don't pay attention to yourself, you're going to end up falling through the trap of having weight gain. I'll eat whatever. I'm grab something quick. You start gaining weight, and the stress level goes up. And when the stress continue to go up, it will augment. It will bottom down to progesterone. And when you bottom down progesterone, you can have irregular bleeding, and then you don't have testosterone. So with testosterone will not go up, you're having problem with sex drive. You lose muscles, you lose hair, you lose stamina. You're not sure about yourself. You're like, I don't even know why I'm feeling this way. You get to this point where you just feel irritable, and the world thinks that you're a biatch, but you're really not. Your hormones are fluctuating, right? So during perimenopause, this is around like 40s to 50s. This is a time frame where your hormones will fluctuate even more, where your cortisol level will continue to rise, and that's the stress hormone. And we have more stress as we continue to age. And if we don't manage that stress, it will steal all your sex hormones, and it will steal your thyroid. It will steal all the other hormones in the body. It's almost like you're having a war, and the government is telling all the organs or all the different states to, I need your first enlisted child. I want all all the manpower to get ready for that fight or flight. So if you don't learn how to deal with that, then when the ovaries retire, then your adrenals supposed to kick in to produce those hormones, and it doesn't have the power to do that. Then you have mental exhaustion. You'll get more irritable. Did you miss? Yeah. So we don't have you don't have the memory that you do. You're kind of brain fog, and your body's going to start to gain more weight. Hold on to the weight because the fat sometimes can be utilized as trying to make hormones, as well as cholesterol. So your cholesterol will go up, and you feel bad because you think, I'm eating too much, but reality is your hormone is shifting, cortisol level is going up, and your blood sugar can go up. This is a time also insulin resistant is the problem, and your doctor may say, well, you got to go on a diet and exercise because and you think that it's your problem, but reality is really it's the hormones shifting. Okay, so menopause is a time when you no longer have a period for 1 year. So I don't care if it's like a day before you start your menstrual cycle. At 11 months, maybe you're like that last day of your of the year. Okay. And you start your period now, you will have to recount the whole year. So you're still going to be a menopausal. So last year I got into a car accident in November, right? So I did not have a period for from since January till November. So guess what happened? After I had that major psychological stress and physical stress in my body, I end up starting my period again. And I go, oh no, I have to start all over. So here we go. I have to wait until the end of November of this year to say, okay, I'm done. And if you want to check your hormones, if you go through menopause or not, wait till a year, then have your doctor check what's called FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. And if it rises, if it's really high, then you are menopausal. Okay. But there are things that you could do to help. But let me share with you some of the myths that people would think about menopause, because it's not the end of the world. I promise you, it's actually the new beginning.
Wait. Before you go into that, I have questions. Okay. I have questions and I'm sure other people have questions too. So if you're watching live, you don't be shy. You can drop them in the comments and I will put them up on the screen and we can answer them. If you're shy, that's fine. You can just chill and watch too, and we still love you. Okay, but I have questions and I'm going to ask them, and maybe that will help someone who's too shy to
Okay.
ask. Okay, so in perimenopause, what are some of the symptoms that I might experience?
You can have headaches, you can have bloating, you can have blood sugar irregulations, you could have sleep deprivations, you can't sleep throughout the night, you can even have bladder issues, like you have to pee all the time. Um, I mean, there's so many different symptoms that and bone ache. Bone ache is huge. You think you have arthritis, but you're losing hormones. Like joint pain and ligaments. Your ligaments just feel like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid to even go run. Um, yeah, so there's things that you can support your system so you can continue to exercise, right? And if you need to exercise, because it really helps you maintain your bone and your joint, and keep your testosterone level up. If you don't have testosterone, listen, you can't even make the decision for yourself, especially the big decisions. And you're going to be like wishy-washy. I don't know. I should have. And you think you're going out of your mind. But if you don't have testosterone, it's like that vigor hormone. It's not just for sex. It's also for muscles, for your brain function, for your heart health. Heart health. I mean, women during menopause, when they go through menopause, they have also a high risk of heart attack and stroke, and also bone loss, right? And mental problem. You can have dementia, um, so wrinkles. I mean, like hair loss. Yeah.
So, as a woman, because we don't often think about, obviously we have testosterone, but we don't often think about that because we're always being told about like progesterone and estrogen, right? So,
Hold
how
on
do
a
we
second.
go?
When you say, okay, testosterone will go up only if you have progesterone. If you don't have progesterone, you during the time, like when your estrogen starts to go down, progesterone starts to go up to trying to keep the lining of the uterus. If you do not have that progesterone, you cannot make testosterone. That means you don't have libido. Now, why does the progesterone goes down? Well, guess what? When you stress, your body will steal progesterone. So if you are pregnant and you have a major stressor going on in your life, you may have what's called a threatened pregnancy or a threatened abortion. So your progesterone goes down. So guess what they do? Your GYN will take you in. They'll put an IV progesterone to try to keep the pregnancy in place.
Wow.
So progesterone is very important. It helps you with sleep, calm, helps with your headaches. Um, it helps you with your mood.
So as a woman, how do we go? Do we just go and ask our doctor, "Hey, test our
Some will
testosterone"?
do, your conventional medicine doctor will just kind of like, you know what, you're just going through that stage. Everybody's going to go through it. It's only a short period of time and you're
Feedback.
okay. They And every single woman experienced different symptoms. Some people are like, well, I don't know what you're talking about because I don't have any symptoms, right?
Mm-hmm.
But some people, they are suffering in silence. And so if they suffer in silence, sometimes people are like, oh, I'm just going to go for a drink because I'm suffering. But in lies a person suffering, the world thinks that they're crazy, right?
Part of it for sure. I went through that
Yeah.
whole process with fibromyalgia when before people knew what it
Yes.
was.
And
Same thing.
if you do not have enough progesterone, you have estrogen dominance. And even you don't have so much of estrogen dominance, but because the fact that your progesterone is down, then you can end up having fibroids, cysts.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that's why I had the hysterectomy because I had
You
huge
cysts.
tumors. They thought it was cancer, girl. I had to go. Oh, that's a whole nother story for another day. But for like 2 months, it was said that I had cancer until I was cleared.
Yeah.
And it was so frightening. And but it turned out to be a whole bunch of